Hello, and welcome to the September edition of our ESG 5 in 5 podcast, in which we spend 5 minutes exploring the key ESG trends set to shape the market this month and beyond. I'm Tonia Plakhotniuk from our Climate and ESG Capital Markets team, and I will be taking you through the official recommendation by the European Commission on Transition Finance, published over the past summer. So let's begin. In July, the European Commission published a new package of measures to build on and strengthen the foundations of the EU Sustainable Finance Framework. One of the key elements of the package was a document providing guidance around transition finance. Recognizing the challenges that companies and investors are facing in their climate and environmental transition, the recommendations aim to show how companies can use the various tools of the EU Sustainable Finance Framework on a voluntary basis to invest into the transition and manage their risks arising from climate change and environmental degradation. Firstly, the Commission provides some helpful clarity on the definitions of sustainable and transition finance, stressing that sustainable finance is actually about financing both what is already environmentally friendly and what is transitioning. And transition finance means financing of investments compatible with and contributing to the transition, and which also avoid carbon-intensive lock-ins in the future. And this includes investments in portfolios tracking EU climate transition benchmarks and EU Paris-aligned benchmarks, commonly known as EU climate benchmarks, investments in taxonomy-aligned economic activities, such as transitional activities for the climate mitigation objective as defined in the taxonomy regulation, and taxonomy-eligible activities becoming taxonomy-aligned over a period of maximum 5, or in some cases 10 years. Transition finance also includes investments in companies or economic activities with a credible transition plan at the entity level or at activity level. And finally, it includes investments in companies or economic activities with credible science-based targets that are supported by information ensuring integrity, transparency, and accountability. The Commission then provides more detailed guidance on how various sustainable finance tools can be applied in practice, including relevant financial instruments to raise transition finance. It says that companies are encouraged to use one or several financial instruments, such as specific loan types or capital market issuances. For example, green and sustainability use of proceeds loans can be used to achieve a specific transition goal, such as upgrading assets and making new investments that will enable production with low climate and environmental impact. And to this end, companies can articulate the purpose of the loan through transition targets related to the criteria of the EU taxonomy. Separately, investments in performance improvements at the company level could be financed through a sustainability-linked loan with science-based, time-bound, climate or environmental performance targets, and where interest rates are linked to achieving those targets. In addition to loans, companies can also issue green or sustainability bonds in order to finance their transition. Issuers could consider issuing bonds with the use of proceeds for transition purposes. While international green bond standards exist already, such as those provided by the International Capital Markets Association, companies could also consider using the European Green Bond Standard for issuing green bonds to finance economic activities that will become taxonomy aligned in 5 to 10 years. And sustainability-linked bonds can also be used to raise transition capital for their issuers' sustainability performance improvements, both at entity and activity level. They should be linked to sound sustainability performance targets, for instance, taxonomy key performance indicators, and a time frame that is aligned with the transition. Finally, credible transition pathways, transition plans, science-based targets, EU climate benchmarks can also be used to set performance targets and to further strengthen the credibility of sustainability-linked bonds. To conclude, transition finance is set to remain a key topic in sustainable finance markets for years to come. Policymakers and regulators in the EU, UK, and globally are expected to provide further guidance as the market continues to evolve. For now, however, issuers and investors are encouraged to consider the toolkit already available to help facilitate finance towards the climate and environmental transition. Thanks for listening to this month's ESG 5 in 5. I hope you found it useful. As always, please be sure to check out our monthly newsletters and LinkedIn content for more on the key ESG trends shaping the market. And if you like this episode, please follow the channel and click the notification bell so you can get future episodes as soon as they are released. Thanks again and see you next time.